Okay, so far we have created an envelope. Okay, so that's the base value there, but then if we can simply add a new value here to make the distance bigger like that. Okay, and also I could simply speed this up. I could put a control to speed things up a little bit, but this is fine. So let me open that up. So I've changed that to 0.1 to make things a bit faster, so that if I put a value of 10, for example, we get a larger ping pong like that. Okay, so here, as you can see, if I click on the E, oh, actually when I click there, I was expecting to get the graph editor to actually open, but it actually isn't opening. So let's put something here to actually open it up. So to open the graph editor is quite easy. All we have to do is say my channel.edit, open close bracket, like so. So let me try and see if that actually worked. Invalid object method edit. All right, actually I forgot, edit only works with immediately after you create. In the same way I've used persist, that's how edit actually works. So instead we could use a command. So don't forget that you still have commands at your disposal. If I go to the utilities tab and go to the LScript commander, I can click on graph editor, and then I'll see it says graph editor there. So it means to open my graph editor, I simply need to say graph editor like this with capital. Okay, usually when doing all this we forget that we've got simple commands like this that work for our purposes. So let me open this one again, close and click E, and there we go, I get my graph editor. Now the problem is I don't go to this particular one right here. It doesn't go to this. What I want is when I click here, it takes me straight to this one. However, what's happening is whatever was there on, like in this case I have the new.position.x. if I click again, I'll find it there. So there's a way to do this, and we have to use more commands, and we can do that in the next video. But for now, at least the graph editor is actually opening, and we can check what's happening here. So we had a keyframe here that was set. However, it seems the keyframe was set at the wrong position. So it was set at 15. Now the reason this happened is because, I can take a wild guess, it's because I swapped these two. So this is the time and this is the value, because if you check here, the value is 0, right? So we have swapped these numbers, so I need to just put 0 there and put a 1 there. Okay, and that should solve the problem. All right, so far so good. Now what I want to do is create a ramp here. So let me add a keyframe here at 0. I'm going to add a keyframe of value 1, and then I'm going to delete this keyframe that is here at frame 15. Keys, actually never deleted keys from here, so I don't even know how to delete keys. I should have just pressed the delete button. All right, so I want it to go to 50 at that frame number. So let me create another keyframe, create key, and I'm going to put it at 50. Okay, so we have a ramp here going on. If I open the graph editor the second time, I will see that ramp going up. So let's see what effect this has on our object. So as you have noticed, nothing is changing. That's because the value being supplied is still this one. So what I want is to be able to read from the graph and put the value in here and use it there as well. Okay, so in order to do that, we come back here. So we won't do this on this button because the button will just run once and the function will exit. So we want to put this in a place where it can constantly be reading per frame, and so this is why we're going to add it to the process function, since this is the function that runs every time our frame is updated. So what do we do here? Right here where we are getting the distance. So if you see, if my control, my distance is equal to so and so. However, the graph editor should override that. So we'll go down here, we'll say read from graph editor, so that in case the graph editor has something else to say, then we'll be good to go. So how do we know if the graph editor is active? So what will happen is, after we click this button here, we're going to have my channel here. So what we will do is go up here instead and put my channel at the top. So my channel is going to be empty, it's going to be equal to nil at this point, but then if the user clicks the button, it's going to be equal to our channel. However, if the user never clicks the button, it will remain nil, therefore we're still going to use the value from the control. So read from graph editor, we'll have to check if my channel is actually active. So we'll just say if my channel, then my distance will be equal to my channel dot value. It's that simple. However, we need to specify value at which time, because the way the graph editor works is you can read from any frame number that you want at any given time. It doesn't matter if the timeline is at 10, you can still read from frame 80. So we have to specify that we want to read from the current time. Now remember that we had set my time was equal to current time, so we can simply get my time here and put it in here. So my channel.value at the current time. So we update. And also we want the control's value to update in case this channel is active. We want the control also to display the value of the channel. So which means we need more than one statement in this if. So we're going to add our brackets like that, and then we're going to say, so we still need to check if my control is active at this point, because it's possible that it's not active but my channel is active. I don't know if that's actually possible, but we need to check for that just to avoid errors. So we're going to say if my control, then my control dot value will be equal to my distance. All right. So a simple recap here. If the control is active, let's set our distance to the control. However, if the channel was created, let's set my distance to the channel value. And at the same time, if the control is active, let's set the value from the channel to the control as well, so the user can see what's going on. So let's go back here and let me remove this and let's check again. So remember we created that ramp, so let's see how well it does. And just like that, the ramp isn't doing anything and the number isn't updating either. So none of that is happening, which means my channel isn't actually active. Now we can test that by just going in here to find where the error is by just saying info. I want it to show us that it actually gets to this point. We're just going to say here, so that we know if our function actually gets to that point. So as you can see, as I move these things, none of that info part is showing, which means my channel is not active. So why is that? It's because we haven't clicked the button, okay? Because my channel is being activated by the click of our button right there. If we wanted to, we could check if my channel is active, because when we reload the scene and find that the graph editor already exists here, someone would still need to press the button to activate this. So instead of doing this step here, what we can do is to check if this one exists even at the top there. All right, so let me copy this part right there. Let me come to here, and we can simply check at the top here. So let me put a comment here and say check if channel exists, so that we don't have to wait for somebody to click a button. And then I'm going to say if channel group, like this. If it exists, that is, then let's do what we did down here. Let me go down here and say my channel is equal to the first channel right there. So let me paste that inside here, and there we go. So let me open this up, remove, add it again, and as you can see, immediately we see that the value has been updated, which means things are working out fine. There we go. So it's growing, 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 and growing. So let me play that so that we can see our final result. As you see the number here changing. So that's how you read. If I open the graph editor at this point, we will see that that's what's happening right there. So everything is working as planned. So that's how you create an envelope to use in a situation like this. However, there's a single problem remaining. If I close Lightwave, save this file, if I save this scene, close Lightwave, I'm going to find that my graph has disappeared. This envelope will disappear. So you need to be able to save it on your own. So I'm going to show how to do that in the following videos. I'll see you in the next videos.